Hello and welcome to a new episode of BIMvoice. Today I have the pleasure to talk with the CEO and co-founder of BIMSPOT, Christoph Degendorfer. I hope I pronounced that name right. Hello.
Perfect. Hello. Hi, Petru.
It's so nice to have you here. Please introduce yourself and tell me what are we going to see today?
Sure. First, thanks a lot for the possibility to talk to you, to have the chance to present myself and my company, my product. My background is actually coming from the architectural industry. So I studied here in Vienna architecture. Always worked beside the studies in different companies for more than 15 years. And beside my architectural profession, I always had a big passion, which is technology. So I was always responsible in the architectural offices to bring new software to the companies, to provide new workflows, trying to optimize the software landscape, looking out for new plugins, trying to make things smoother. And yeah, this was my always my kind of my passion. And when BIM comes to the industry, I really felt that this is my field of where I want to go deeper. So I was in the competition team at the architect's office, where we won a very big competition in Austria, a headquarter, and it was a very, very complex project. So it was like including restaurants, offices, also a helicopter landing base, and so actually very, very interesting building. And we decided this was I think now 8 or 10 years ago, to do this project with BIM. And so I was there from the beginning, from the first draft till the end in the project. And for me, it was really like changing how the collaboration is working. We had we were very lucky that we worked together with a structural engineer on this project. So we were able to really cooperate in one common building model. And based on this experience, I found out that this is the way I want to develop further. Then I started a BIM consulting company. It's called SIDE. It's a studio of information design. It's based in Vienna. I grew this with a partner. We were basically consulting different stakeholders of the entire BIM project teams, from owners, so clients, also architects, engineers, also building industry. Yeah, and we run and supported a lot of different BIM projects. And out of this consulting business, actually, the idea of BIMSPOT was born. So we saw some problems we want to tackle, and this was then 2.5 years ago, where I founded the company. And now we are a team of 15 people. We are, most of us, located in Vienna. We have also Hungarian employees, and one employee is from Italy. And this was actually the story how everything began. And what do we tackle, or what was the intention behind what we found out? I think the big difference between the traditional planning called CAD and BIM is really the information. If you compare these two steps, CAD isn't much more than a drawing with a computer, but you actually have the same way of how you construct things, so that the drawing isn't much different to the manual drawing on paper. And we saw a lot of BIM projects which actually called themselves BIM project, but it was not much more than a 3D planning, which is already nice, because you can do really nice things when you can compare to models of buildings in a 3-dimensional way. This is already a step forward. But we really think that the difference is the information, which is then connected to the building information model. So that's what we are focusing on, is really the information. And if you have a look on an average project with, 50 million volume, you will end up very, very shortly in the hundreds of thousands of properties need to be managed. And this is something where we want to focus on, where we want to actually deliver a solution. The second thing we saw in the project is that the knowledge of or the level of BIM know-how is very different in the project teams. So you, of course, have maybe a very experienced BIM manager, you have BIM modeler who really know their job, but also in the project team, you always have team members which are maybe new to BIM or don't have so much experience. So you end up with a team where maybe just half of the team is really using and going for what is possible with BIM, and the rest is more on like, I'm trying to, but I don't know really how. And for that, we are trying to offer a very easy to use solution, because from our point of view, it is needed that really everybody can contribute to a project. So the easy to use solution to make everything available for everybody. This was the second important thought behind BIMSPOT. Yeah, so that's basically the main idea.
I see. Do you still do any consultancy, or now your entire focus and efforts are on BIMSPOT?
The focus is definitely on the product, on BIMSPOT. We are, of course, helping in project if it's needed, but not in an extensive way. So we are, of course, helping to make BIM happen, basically. But we are focusing on the product itself. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, please start sharing your screen, and yeah.
Sure.
Let's go through your presentation.
All right. So this is the platform itself. I want, before we dig deeper here, actually have a short overview via this presentation. Yeah, as I already said, we are based in Vienna. We founded the company with our really big experience out of the industry. So we really delivering a very certain expertise on BIM consulting. We are trying to convert this to the product. So we are really trying to deliver a technology which helps in the daily business and also be very close to the market. Our users are basically coming around the world. So we are a global solution, not just focusing on the European market, but also in other important markets where BIM is already in use. But I don't want to talk too much about this part here. What I want to show you is actually the way, or first the problem we saw. We are deeply convinced about the openBIM workflow, that this is the way how actually the collaboration can be solved in a team. And what we saw is we have a very complex and always different situation with the software landscape in a project. So every project is different, every stakeholder is always different. So we end up with a very diverse situation from the software side. And this leads to a very complex process of collaboration, of sharing information, sharing models. And this process usually is defined in documents. So you have this BIM execution plan where everything is described. And then the big question is how to bring this to life. How can we really enhance people that they are working according to what was aligned at the beginning of the project? And this can, of course, change during the project. Usually it's the case that these documents are like done at the beginning, and then like their own procedures, their own habits in the project develop. And the big danger here is that the outcome is really depending on how this collaboration works and how the information is delivered and aligned. So the outcome is not always clear. Also from contract point of view, it's not always clear what actually BIM should really deliver at the end of the day. So we are trying to give a solution here. And what we are doing is we are centralized, or we are in the center of the whole planner team. And you can actually use BIMSPOT as a platform where you, in the first step, can define your BIM use cases. So you are first defining in a very easy way what you want to get out of the project. So a use case can be, for example, you want to do a cost estimation, or you want to do a visualization, you want to do controlling of the planning. So this all is defined at the beginning, and from this you can actually step back and define, okay, for this use case, which requirements do I have, what I need to deliver to make this happen. And these use cases add up to a kind of a project setting, and this is then defined in our digital requirement section. So this requirements is the basement of all the further project work. In a second step, when the requirements are set via the use cases, we actually provide a very easy to use solution for quality assurance. So that means that you can run model checks on BIMSPOT. We have an integration with Solibri. So you can run information checks on the information level and also everything what you can imagine with Solibri. So this combination gives us a very solid database for the next step, which is basically then getting the information again out of the platform. So to share information, share project insights, whatever you want to do, defined by your use cases. These are the 3 steps we are providing. So this is a very short overview about what we are doing. And I will now jump to the platform itself to give you a brief overview over our functionality and how you can use it.
Yeah, I would really like to see how you start. Like, how are the first meetings of when you hop in a project, and how you establish the base that you are going to need and use afterwards?
There are basically 2 ways to do it. The first one is if the BIM goals are very like established known ones, then we have ready to go templates for that. So for some certain things like cost estimation, we already have everything in place where you can actually start right away. If it's more project specific, so you want to maybe achieve some additional things, or you want to modify these use cases, then we are you can actually set up, or we are helping you to set up the requirements in a way that these use cases are possible. The kind of the backbone of all this is the information requirement section. I will jump now to that to maybe explain it a little better. This section here is actually a matrix where all the categories are defined. So every IFC category is defined here, and you can actually see here all the properties for an IFC beam need to be delivered at which stage from which stakeholder. So this is a very easy way to define it.
Can this become quite similar or a part of a BIM execution plan?
Actually, yes. So you can export this very easy. You can use a CSV file to export it, and you can also modify it. So all the properties you see here, you can extend to your project needs. So there is no limit on that. But the idea is actually to make this as part of the BIM execution plan and not have it defined in a document. So the idea is to define it here, and then it's kind of available for everybody. And the interesting part is if everything is defined here, you can actually go to the section of requirement fulfillment, and here you can see which information is actually in the model. So defined by the different disciplines, architect, structural engineer, mechanical engineer, you could see which information is already in the model and where is something missing. So this helps you to give a very, very easy overview on the information level. We are currently working on a PCF workflow. This will come out in middle of April, where we actually get back a PCF and see exactly, okay, which elements, in which elements this information is missing. Then you can actually use it in your BIM authoring tool again to work on this information and trying to get everything to, of course, 100%. Yeah, so that's actually the...
How exactly, and what kind of information can you use in your authoring tool? Like something just, for example, issues, or the entire model, or what do you think?
So what is shown here is basically, you can see here that the architect needs to work on the information of the covering, curtain wall, and stair. So in these categories, the information is missing.
Yeah.
If we go deeper here, you could see, like, for example, the railing and so on. This is already done. And on the red categories, you need to work on. This information you would get back as a PCF. And this is something what you can then use in Revit or in other tools to kind of work on. So to get the information there.
Okay, but I mean, like, how do I open this in Revit? I just open it and I will see it visually, or I will just be able to read the information, or it will show me which elements doesn't comply with this test.
Exactly. It will show you on the element which element are the missing ones, and then show you, okay, what you need to fill. Exactly.
Oh yeah, okay, I understand. So it will be like properties of the objects or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But do we need an extra plugin or something to do this, or how exactly is the workflow between this?
For the PCF, yeah, the thing is, a PCF is like working. It gives you not just the issue itself. It gives you also the perspective of this. You would see the element and the camera position, so it would actually, so you
Okay,
would
now I
actually
understand.
need, yeah.
It works similar like other softwares like BIM Collab or BIM Track. From this point of view.
It's the same format. It's the same format, exactly. This is an open interface, and we are using that, exactly. You could also exchange this information then via the other platforms, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
The second part I want to point out, so this is now on the information level. So this makes sure that the information is in the model. And the second part is, I already talked about the other quality possibilities we have. And we have here three different ways of doing the checks. The first one is called quality check. This is a very generic check where you can actually just go in here. You select a discipline, so let's say the structural engineer, and then you select the building part. So you can say, I want to check the concrete construction, and then you say submit. And this is everything you need to do that the model check is performed. And what this actually does is it checks very generic things like if the IFC structure is correct. So if there are a building site if there are levels, but also very specific things like, for example, if you have any duplicated elements. So with copy paste, sometimes a problem occurs when these elements are copied and then a column is actually double in the same place. And for every quantity takeoff, it would count double. So you want to actually avoid these duplicates in the model. And these very easy general things what this quality check can provide to give you a first impression of the quality of the model. And this is important for whenever you hand over or upload a model to the platform, everybody could run these checks and have the same understanding of the quality. It's not that somebody is checking it with a not public rule set of quality checks. So actually everybody gets the same results, and this is very important to support the transparency in the project.
Yes, indeed.
The second one is clash detections. I think it's very clear. So you can just check two disciplines against each other if there is a clash or not. And the third one is also very interesting. You're able to upload here any possible Solibri rule set. So you can actually be very specific on the project. You provide a rule set to the whole team, and then they can run the custom check in here.
I understand. For somebody who has already Solibri, what is the advantage of using that in BIMSPOT and not just as a standalone software?
Mm-hmm. Solibri is a great tool. We really love it, and we used it for years in BIM consulting. And you can really check very specific things with the software. What we want to provide here is actually to extend the possibilities of Solibri to people who might not be familiar with it, or for the you just upload it, run the check. You know that it should be 100%, and if there is an issue, you might have to go back to find out what it is. So we are actually extending the possibilities of Solibri. We are not replacing it. Actually, you would need Solibri to adjust the custom rule set on BIMSPOT. So it is just a kind of to make Solibri available to people who are not aware of using Solibri right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so this is then the second step, what is needed to make actually the model quality on a level where we then later on can use the information. And the information is, of course, kind of brought together in the model viewer itself. So here all the different parts of the model are federated. You can see here a project which is located in Austria, rather a small one, but for this is our demo project. So for everybody who wants to try out the platform, you can just log in at cloud.bimspot.io and you will find this project here for checking it out. And yeah, it's a very clean interface. As I said, it's for everybody who is actually not a BIM pro, but also want to participate in the project. On the viewer, we have two very interesting things. The first one is if you click on an element, you will see all information which comes in this case out of Revit. This, I think, is not a big surprise. This is the same in every solution. One thing is now different. You can change here to show only required information. And this is now exactly what is defined in the section with the matrix, that this is the information what is in this phase required for a window. So just this information is needed or is defined in the project team. And you can see here that actually a lot of the information is just coming via the export, but it's not quality checked, and it's actually also not needed for other parties. So in this case, it's just about the window. If it's an external window, thermal transmittance and height width area. So actually a few informations.
Let me ask you something before you go further. How do you make sure that you work on the latest model? How do you keep this updated? You need to upload it all the time, or do you have any integrations with other tools, or how is this working?
Currently, we don't have integrations, but it's a very easy drag and drop upload. So you have here the model management. You can set this up very easy, and then it's like a container. You just push the things in. And we are currently working on, so we have an open API, and we are actually currently working to integrate BIMSPOT to other solutions, that this upload is not needed like twice in the same way. Yeah.
Okay, but so what happens if you already have a model in place? It checks and updates only the changes, or how exactly does the revision control works?
Depending on which revision control you look to. If you're doing the information, it does actually the whole thing. So you would always see this current state of the model has this certain amount of information fulfilled or not fulfilled. So this is always a whole check. In the quality check section, so where you use the Solibri rule set, this is also depending on what checks you're running. But basically, it is about all the errors you find in the model. And if the error is not resolved, it would appear again.
How do you exactly start? You start first by uploading a model, right? Or you start by defining the rules? What exactly is the workflow here?
Again, depends on what use case is important for you. You can also use BIMSPOT just as a model viewer. Then you just drag and drop your model, and you have the model there, and you can turn around and use the information in the model. So then you're already up and running. If you say you have you want to do a quantity takeoff, for example, where you actually have a need to understand if the information and the model itself is correct, then you would start with uploading the model and also defining the requirements. We provide here a template where you actually can already start with. So by uploading your first model, you would already have the first features available for you. But usually you need to adjust to the specific namings in the project, and this is something where we also help. So if there is any need for adjusting this, we can step in. Yeah, and depending on the quality of your model, you can start right away.
Cool.
All right, I just have 3 more parts, so I will introduce this also. One important thing is the filter. This is something you might know from other web solutions where you can just have a free text search on something. And in our case, you can actually query the whole building information model. So you can type in here, for example, you want the load bearing walls. So you can just go to load bearing, define a certain category. In our case, I will just say all entities and say apply filter. And this you can do actually on the category level, but also on the property level. So if you have in your project certain properties like room names or area names or whatever come to your mind, you can always filter that here by this property. And you can say in this case, for example, these are now all elements which are load bearing. You can also, for example, filter for I want to see concrete elements and if they're not load-bearing, because this would be a mistake, for example. So you can actually use this filter very specifically to understand the information in the model. And this filter is very central because this filter is also the basement for further features. One is you can do a quantity takeoff with this filter. So in this case, you would save the filter load-bearing elements concrete, for example, and then you can go to our section of the quantity takeoff. And in this section, you would just get out an Excel list what you can use then for cost estimation and in other workflows. And this is very easy to define. You can filter for doors for every element, every property you want, and then you will get a table with all elements, with all properties. This is what you get out.
Nice.
And yeah, and the last part is actually a KPI dashboard. This is basically used for project controlling. So this is also based on the filter. So in this case, it's set up for areas. But for example, for project developers, it's very important to control always the area of the projects to be sure the rentable area or area you want to sell to a client is kind of staying into the project goals. And we are using the information coming out of the model directly to update these numbers here. And you can set a target number, and then you always know if you're on track or not. You can also use this, for example, for, I don't know, concrete volumes. So if you have a certain, maybe a very expensive foundation of a building, you could also use these properties and this filter to then go for the sums of these volumes to make sure the project is not going out of costs, for example. And with every upload of the model, this will update and will give you new results. And this can be used very kind of flexible and very, very intense. So for very different use cases.
What happens if you go on show in viewer here?
Yeah, if you go here and you say, the window area, then you would just jump to the viewer, and this will show exactly the elements which are used to build up the number.
It will filter out everything else and leave only the windows.
Yes, exactly. So this will not take some seconds, but this is exactly delivering back the filter what was used for getting the sum.
Yeah. What cloud infrastructure are you using? Are you using AWS or
Yes.
Azure? AWS?
We're using AWS in Germany. Yeah, so we see here the windows are shown here. This is what is used to calculate the area.
Yeah. But is the platform built from scratch, or it is made in Forge?
No, we integrated, the platform is built by ourselves. We integrated the viewer. That's the only thing. The rest is from us.
Okay, the viewer. The viewer
Yeah.
with Forge, you mean? Or
No, we're not using Forge. No, we're not using Forge.
It's an open source viewer, or it's something that you must pay for?
It's under a license model, so it's not, or it's a mixed. It's XeoKit viewer.
Yeah. How did you say it was called?
XeoKit. XEO.
XeoKit. Yeah, I think I heard that name, but I don't know where. Yeah. Yeah, but there are some interesting solutions, open source, developing out there, like IFC.js. I don't know. It might be something in the future, but I'm not sure.
You said 3JS?
Yeah, IFC.js, which is built actually is built on top of 3JS, but it's specifically for IFC.
Okay.
So it's a new project. I think it started last year in the October or in the autumn. But I had a previous guest from here, the founder of it, and it's growing. It's growing fast. And it's completely free, but yeah, it's still growing. I don't think it's ready for production, but it is looking good, and it's a lot. It has a lot of traction actually. Yeah. Regarding IFC, what IFC version are you using here? Does it matter?
We are providing actually 2x3 and also version 4. You can freely change between these two. It's just in one project you should use one version. That's a restriction from us because it would like mess up all the properties. As in the IFC4, you are able to use others than in 2x3, and to combine these two is kind of it's tricky, and we would not recommend that.
Yeah.
That's the only restriction. But which version you're using, it's up to you and your project team.
But from what you see, do you still see people using 2x3?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, mostly from like older projects which are still ongoing, and they don't want to switch in the middle of a project, and then they are still using it to the end. But new ones are for that's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's good because it has much more elements, right? And it's definitely better. And I think we'll get a new one soon. I'm not really sure.
You mean a new version of the 4, or you mean already IFC 5?
I think it's a new update of the version 4, but I'm not really sure. I might be wrong. Let's go back to the roots a little bit. You are the co-founder here. Who is your co-founder, or who are your co-founders?
Yeah, actually, I want to mention two of my teammates. One is Alex Kras. He actually is with me since years now, and he's coming from the architectural office over the BIM consulting, and he is now responsible for our product. So he really brings this BIM knowledge directly to the product team. And the second one is our CTO, Adam Erie. He's also with us from the first day, and brings a very extensive knowledge in building all the technology what we need.
So it was only you three when you started the project?
We also have a early stage investor, which was a founding partner, and they were helping us from the first minute to structure the company. And when we like build up the team, they were providing different specific help in starting from marketing to HR to every different topic, and they are still with us and advising us, helping us. This was also a founding partner. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. How easy or how difficult is to use your platform?
That's a very good question. We really try hard to make it as easy as possible. We have also a guiding online, so you would find some explanation during the usage. So I hope this makes it a little more easier. Still, it's a complex topic, so we are still improving providing new functionality to make it easier to handle in the moment, and also like reducing what is not necessary. So I think that's an ongoing process. We did, of course, user tests. We also have some ongoing testing with people who are in projects and giving us feedback how to improve. But the platform itself should be self-explanatory. But if it's not, it will not take more than half an hour to get into that. This is usually what we're doing at the starting of a project, to introduce it to everybody. So there is no specific training needed, but
Do you have any onboarding process for new customers, or?
Yes, of course we have, because it's usually the case that we want to make sure that the use cases they have defined maybe in a paper or just as an idea, to make this really as a basement on BIMSPOT, so that all the requirements are set properly. And for that, we have an onboarding process to help them. If they don't have the requirement, everything already like structured, then we are helping them to kind of map this to an IFC structure maybe, or what is needed to start with. Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about accessibility. How accessible is your software? Is there any way to try it for free before purchasing it, or how does this
Definitely,
go?
yes. There is a 2-week trial, so you can use the whole platform, all functionality for free for 2 weeks. After that, you can still access everything, but it is not possible to upload any new models. So you can actually access the whole thing. Even new features which are coming out, you can use, but you're not able to upload again.
Okay, I understand. And regarding pricing, is this something that you tailor for each client, or is something that you have a pricing list? Or?
Usually it's tailored. We are starting at 280 euros per month, and we are project size related. So we have a measure which counts the square meter in a project, and then the usage is included, and users also are included. So you would just pay for the project itself, and everybody would be involved.
Okay, I see. So there is no user limitation, for example, user number limitation.
Exactly, no limitation. Yeah.
Okay. For example, yeah, if the project buys the license, every stakeholder involved can get access to it.
Exactly, yes.
Interesting.
That's very important to just bring people together on this, and provide it to everybody.
Yeah, sure. What about infrastructure? Do you have any companies that are using it for infrastructure projects, or it's only mainly for buildings?
It's mainly for buildings. We have some back and forth interaction with some railway companies, and actually we are working on the information level to extend the IFC schema in a way that it can be used for infrastructure as well. But this is not in the product right now. So this is, I would say, upcoming this year, but not in the product now.
Yeah. By the way, it should come out also an IFC rail.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but I know it's in the works.
Yeah.
What about the usage of it? Did you break the borders of Austria, or is still locally mostly used? Do you have customers across the globe, mostly in Europe, mostly in Austria, or?
Yeah, we are used in different countries, so we're definitely not Austria. We have users actually also from US, from South America. In Europe, it's beside the German-speaking countries, mostly the Nordics. So actually, good spread, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in Austria, the most of the customers are from Austria because it's easier for you to be in touch, or you started there, right?
Exactly, yeah. We have like the network coming out from here, but yeah, we also have German projects.
But Germany, yeah, Germany should be the same almost, because yeah, you are a German-speaking country, right? So yeah.
Also, we see a lot of development on BIM side in Switzerland. So there was in Austria, the standard for building information modeling is quite old, but and there was nothing similar like that in Switzerland for years, actually, or for some years, and now they're actually kind of overtaking. I think because there are a lot of projects that are now doing or have the requirement of BIM. So this is also a very, very interesting market for us.
I'm guessing these projects that are willing to use this tool, they must be aware, people working on these projects, about ISO 9650, and they try to use the best practices from there, or to what level do they use BIM mostly?
BIMSPOT can be used to really manage information. So if you have a focus already there, you need some some experience on what you need to get out of a BIM project. So if you already have defined use cases and they are structured, then of course you can apply different standards on it, and you can use it on a very high level. On the other hand, we are providing it's called BIM Ready to Go, where you can actually start without any BIM knowledge. As a for example, as a project developer, you just need to know what is the BIM is a topic for you, and we are providing everything as an infrastructure to actually deliver some use cases to you as a developer. Very easy ones, but this is also a very good way to start with BIM, even because that's a very practical way to get the first impressions, the first project done, and then you can develop further. So for us, it's also for the people who actually are not very deep into the field, that we are providing a way how they can do the first steps with BIM.
Interesting. So what is this, like an online course or something, some recordings that you have, or some presentations, or what exactly?
It is actually a completely properly set up BIMSPOT project room where you can just enter and start. You would just need then the upload from the architect or from the structural engineer, and we give you some guiding on what specific is needed on the property level. But this is a very few, this is basically areas, volumes, which anyhow comes with the modeling. So it's basically just about naming and having a few conventions, but this is super, super low entry barrier then. Yeah.
I understand. Using this kind of tools, there are always these customers that are thinking about privacy. It is possible to use offline your platform or to use your own servers or something for people that, let's say, they don't want to upload their models. Maybe they are secret or something. I don't know. There are companies that are more strictly about the security and everything, right? It is possible to do anything regarding this, or
it is definitely a topic from time to time, where security is a very kind of high level requirement on that. And basically we have two fields. One is the project itself, where it might be a very sensitive building. You're building a bank or I don't know, hospital or something
prison.
like that. Prison. Then you would have your data room or your project room is always private. This is something which is for sure, right? Just the people invited can get in. Is the one thing. And on the other hand of the infrastructure, we are hosting the solution AWS in Germany, which from my point of view is one of the best things what you can provide. We are currently not doing on-premise solutions. We have been asked a few times, but actually with then going more to detail and explaining how everything is set up, the AWS is delivering everything what was needed. I'm not saying it's not asked, but it is actually, we have a good answer, I would say. I mean, if it's compliance policy, it need to be on-premise, in-house, then of course that would be currently a no-go for us.
I understand. There are another problem. Yeah, Germany it's fine for most of Europe, right? But there might be some companies that would like to have it hosted locally or something, like nationally within the borders or something. So there are always discussions about this kind of aspect. So that's why.
No, definitely. I mean, what we can easily do is we have a very scalable and also easy transformable infrastructure. So we could actually take it and put it somewhere else in one day. The thing is about maintenance, and currently we want to keep the maintenance costs low and slim and go for one centralized solution.
Yeah, that could be a new kind of service for you in the future after you grow more the team.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was not like I wasn't asked too often about this really separated island solution. But definitely it's possible, and as you said, definitely a way to grow. Yeah.
Did I miss anything important that you would like to mention?
Oh, I think it was a very intense and very deep talk. Also, we had a deep look to the product itself. Yeah, I just want to mention if anybody of your viewers is interested in, we are of course very happy to give an introduction. The platform itself is, as I mentioned, 2 weeks for free. Maybe you can post somewhere the link to it.
Of course,
later on the video. Yeah, and I would be really happy if we can provide a solution where BIM is used in more projects and where BIM is actually coming more to life in our daily business. That would be really awesome.
That sounds very good. That aligns very well with my plans as well. Yeah. How can people reach out to you?
I will just drop my email address maybe also to the video, or you can actually also, of course, contact us via the webpage.
Awesome. What about LinkedIn? Is that okay if somebody will contact you through LinkedIn or something?
We are heavily using LinkedIn, of course. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Christoph. It was very nice to get to know BIMSPOT. I wish you good luck.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the interview. It was very nice talking to you.
Likewise.
And good luck for your, actually, I want to thank you for all your work, because this is super important to connect to people and build up a common understanding of the industry, what is new, what is upcoming. And your role as a kind of bringing everything together in one channel is actually a super important one. So thanks for your effort in pushing the topic.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.